To be a good father, I thought I had to kill the gamer inside of me. My name is Jim and I was faced with the impossible choice. Be a gamer or be a dad. I thought I had to delete my entire identity. For years, my life was about late night raids and the sound of a keyboard. Then, my son was born. Suddenly, the guy who had unlimited patience for a rare monster spawn had zero patience for anything. The guy who spent hundreds of hours optimizing a character couldn't figure out how to wrap a swaddle. Those first 2 months were insane. The exhaustion was on a whole new level. My gaming PC, the center of my universe, was completely dark. A monument to a life I could never have again. Every time I looked at it, this wave of guilt would hit me. I was torn between who I was and who I was supposed to be. I was a dad, and I thought that meant giving up everything that made me, me. But the solution, the one thing that would teach me how to be an amazing dad, came from the last place I ever expected. A quiet, pixelated farming game. My old life of epic quest felt a million miles away. My new life was just feeding schedules and trying to decode his cries like I was defusing a bomb. I remember reading a phrase, align your actions with your core values, and it never made sense. But now my internal compass had one unshakable true north. This tiny person who needed me for everything. My highest self wasn't a mystic raider, it was just a dad. That guide turned out to be Stardew Valley. It didn't just give me something to do while my son slept on my chest. It gave me a blueprint to rebuild my identity. Not as a gamer or as a dad, but as a gamer dad. Before my son, my gaming was about one thing, efficiency. I min-maxed every stat and speedran content. I tried to optimize feeding times and streamline diaper changes, and I was failing horribly. Then I started my farm in Pelican Town. At first, my old instinct took over. I was reading wikis and planning crop layouts of maximum profit. But Stardew Valley isn't a game that you can win. It's a game that you live in. My daily tasks were simple. Water the crops, feed the chickens, and pet the dog. There was a rhythm to it. You can't speedrun the sunrise. You can't force a plant to grow faster. You just have to show up every single day and do the work. That lesson slowly started to blow my mind. It taught me that fatherhood isn't a race you sprint. It's a garden you tend. Watering my pixelated parsnip wasn't that different from preparing a bottle. These small repetitive actions weren't choice to be rushed. That was the point. I stopped trying to optimize my son and started creating a comforting routine. Tummy time wasn't a task to check off. It was our time to tend to a sapling. Stardew Valley taught me to find joy in the process, not just the outcome. I'm curious if anyone else has struggled with bringing a min-maxing attitude to parenting. Let me know if that's you. In most games, you manage resources like gold or mana. In life, your most important resource is your attention. For a while, all my energy was a resource I poured into the main quest of the baby. My wife and I became side quests I told myself I'd get back to later. In Stardew Valley, there's a direct consequence to that mindset. Decay. If you neglect people, even your spouse, your friendship hearts literally go down. It's a game mechanic that perfectly mirrors how real-life relationships fall apart. One day, I was so focused on my farm that I ignored my in-game spouse. The next day, her dialogue was colder. We were in the same room but worlds apart. We had stopped playing on the same team. We were co-managers, not partners. Stardew Valley treats relationships as an active daily choice. It reminded me that parenting is the ultimate co-op game. So my wife and I started our own check-ins. Just 15 minutes after the baby was asleep, phones away, and we were just talking. It was our versions of giving a loved gift in the game. A deliberate act of investing in our team. And the game has another lesson. You can't give your children gifts to raise their friendship. You build a bond purely through daily interaction. It's not about what you buy them. It's about the consistency of your presence. How do you and your partner make time for each other? There is a hidden place in Stardew Valley that is a new parent's darkest fear, the dark shrine of selfishness. For the price of one rare item, your child turned into doves and are permanently gone. When I first learned this, a chill went down my spine. It's a shocking mechanic in such a wholesome game. The ultimate escape button. And if I'm being honest, in the most sleep-deprived moments, I understood the temptation. But you can't erase your choices in life. Rejecting the dark shrine became the most important lesson. Fatherhood isn't a quest you can abandon. There is no reset button. But here's the other side of that coin. Stardew Valley is an incredibly forgiving game. If you mess up or pass out from exhaustion, what happens? Basically nothing. The sun rises the next day, and you get up to try again. I had been playing life on hardcore mode, where one mistake felt like a permanent game over screen. Stardew Valley taught me that fatherhood is more like a game with infinite continues. This low-stakes loop was like therapy. It modeled self-compassion. Before this, I saw gamer and father as two separate identities at war. The controller was who I was. The diaper bag was who I was supposed to be. I thought I had to choose. I was completely wrong. Stardew Valley built a bridge between those two worlds. My hobby went from being a source of guilt to a source of wisdom. The patience and problem-solving skills I built over thousands of hours were all transferable. Now my controller doesn't feel like a relic from the past. My time for gaming was more limited, but it was more precious. It's no longer a guilty escape from my family. It's a charging station so that I can be more present with them. Being a gamer dad isn't a contradiction. It's about finding the balance, communicating with your partner, and remembering that the goal isn't to reach the end credits, but to enjoy your entire journey. That's my story, but I know I'm not the only one. So many of us have found insane wisdom in the games that we play. What's your experience been as a gamer dad or mom? Is there a game that surprisingly taught you a life lesson about parenting? Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.